What would you do if aliens invaded Earth and demanded humanity kneel within 24 hours? They believed humans were weak, but their biggest mistake was landing on Earth. The first alien ships appeared above Earth without warning. They did not arrive with greetings, signals, or attempts at peace. They simply appeared, thousands of dark metallic structures sliding silently out of warp space, blotting out stars across the night sky. At first, astronomers believed it was some unknown, natural phenomenon. Then one of the objects shifted position, slowly turning toward Earth like a predator noticing movement. Within minutes, every satellite in orbit began transmitting the same terrifying image, a vast fleet surrounding the planet. Humanity had finally met another civilization, and they had come for war. Across the globe, panic erupted. Governments scrambled to understand what they were facing. Military commands moved to their highest alert levels. Fighter jets were launched, missile systems armed. Nuclear submarines surfaced beneath the oceans, but before any human weapon could be fired, a transmission flooded every communication network on Earth. The message appeared simultaneously on televisions, phones, radios, and military command screens. A towering alien figure appeared, tall, armored, with pale gray skin stretched tightly across an elongated skull. Its eyes glowed faintly blue, cold and utterly without emotion. The translation system struggled for a moment before the alien's voice echoed across every language on Earth. "You are humanity. This world belongs to you for now." There was no attempt to disguise the arrogance. "We are the Karthik's dominion. We conquer civilizations. We break their resistance. Those who survive serve us." The alien leaned slightly closer to the camera. "You have 24 of your hours to surrender your governments, your weapons, and your planetary command. If you refuse, we will demonstrate why every world we have encountered kneels." The screen went black. For the first time in human history, every nation on Earth faced the same enemy, and humanity refused to kneel. At first, the war looked hopeless. The Karthik's fleet possessed technology centuries beyond anything humans had developed. Their ships could bend gravity, move faster than any missile, and fire energy weapons capable of slicing through entire cities. The first battle happened above the Pacific Ocean. Human fighter squadrons from the United States, Japan, and Australia launched together. Hundreds of jets roared toward a single alien cruiser hovering in orbit. Missiles streaked upward like burning arrows. None of them hit. The alien ship simply warped space around itself, bending trajectories, sending missiles spiraling harmlessly away. Moments later, the cruiser fired a single pulse of blue light. Every jet vanished. The world watched in horror, but humanity did not stop fighting. Something strange began happening during the first months of the invasion. The Karthiks expected immediate surrender, yet humans refused. Nations that had spent decades competing suddenly worked together. Scientists across the planet shared classified technology. Engineers dismantled alien wreckage whenever a damaged craft crashed to the surface. Humans learned fast. One of the first discoveries came from a destroyed alien scout ship recovered in Siberia. Russian scientists found that Karthik's ships relied heavily on centralized command signals coming from a massive flagship that remained deep within the fleet. The flagship belonged to someone known in their transmissions as the War King. Every Karthik's order flowed from him. Every fleet maneuver followed his commands, and like most conquerors, the War King believed humans were weak. So he made a mistake. After months of fighting, the Karthiks demanded a meeting. They believed Earth was finally ready to surrender. The War King himself would descend to the planet to receive humanity's submission. It was meant to be a moment of humiliation. Instead, it became the moment the war turned. The landing took place in the ruins of what had once been Geneva. The alien fleet hovered high above while a massive triangular ship descended slowly through the clouds. Cameras from every surviving nation broadcast the event. A ramp extended. The War King stepped onto Earth. He was enormous, nearly 10 feet tall, wearing dark armor layered with glowing symbols of conquest. Behind him marched dozens of elite Karthiks warriors carrying weapons that hummed with lethal energy. Across the field stood the representatives of humanity, generals, scientists, political leaders. They looked small in comparison. The War King raised his head proudly. "You have chosen wisely," he said through the translators. "Kneel, and your species will be allowed to live." For a moment, no one moved. Then a human general stepped forward. His uniform was dusty, his face tired from months of war. "Actually," the general said calmly, "we didn't come here to surrender." The War King tilted his head before he could respond. The ground exploded. Hidden charges detonated beneath the alien escort units, throwing Karthik's warriors into the air. Human forces burst from concealed bunkers surrounding the landing site. Missiles fired. Railguns thundered. For the first time in the war, humanity attacked the enemy leader directly. The Karthik's warriors fought fiercely, but humans had prepared. Carefully, new weapons built using salvaged alien technology disrupted their armor shields. Sniper rounds punched through gaps in their defenses. Chaos erupted across the battlefield, and in the center of it all stood the War King. For the first time, he looked uncertain. Human soldiers rushed him. His armor protected him from several hits, but sheer numbers overwhelmed his defenses. Explosions knocked him off his feet. Heavy cables fired from electromagnetic launchers wrapped around his limbs. The War King roared in fury, trying to tear free, but human engineers had studied alien biology carefully. The cables tightened, gravity anchors activated. With a thunderous crash, the War King collapsed onto the ground. The camera is broadcasting. The event never stopped recording. Across the world, billions watched as humanity captured the alien ruler. But humanity didn't just capture him, they humiliated him. The War King had expected humans to kneel. Instead, they dragged him. Massive transport vehicles attached the cables and began pulling the giant alien across the battlefield. His armor scraped against broken concrete and shattered metal. He struggled violently. The cables tightened again. Human soldiers surrounded him, weapons aimed directly at his head. "You came here to conquer us," the general said, walking beside the restrained alien, "but you forgot something." The War King glared at him with burning hatred. "What could your primitive species possibly teach us?" The general looked directly into the cameras broadcasting worldwide. "Humans don't surrender easily." The convoy began moving across ruined streets, past destroyed alien machinery. The captured War King was dragged through the wreckage of his own invasion. Above them, the alien fleet watched. For the first time since arriving at Earth, the Karthik's ships hesitated. Their command signal had changed. The War King was no longer giving orders. Panic spread through their ranks. Human scientists had already prepared the second phase of the plan. Using captured alien communication technology, they broadcast a signal directly into the Karthik's command network. The message contained only one image: the War King being dragged across the ground by humans. The psychological impact was devastating. The Karthik's empire had ruled through fear for centuries. Their entire society revolved around the invincibility of their leader. And now their king was being pulled through dirt by a species they had called primitive. Confusion rippled through the fleet. Ships stopped firing. Command chains collapsed. Human forces seized the moment. Orbital defense weapons launched everything. They had newly modified missiles equipped with alien guidance systems streaked toward the disorganized fleet. For the first time in the war, Karthik's ships began exploding in orbit. The War King realized what was happening. "You think this changes anything?" he snarled as the vehicles continued dragging him across the battlefield. "Our empire spans hundreds of worlds. Even if you defeat this fleet, another will come." The general stopped walking. He looked down at the fallen alien ruler. "Good," he said quietly. Then he leaned closer. "Because now we know how to fight you." The War King's eyes widened slightly. In orbit, the battle intensified without clear leadership. The Karthik's fleet fractured. Some ships attempted retreat, others continued attacking blindly. Human forces targeted command vessels first, using intelligence gathered from months of studying alien technology. Within hours, the invasion fleet was crippled. Many ships fled into deep space. Many more burned in Earth's atmosphere as they fell. When the final explosions faded, silence returned to the sky. Humanity had survived its first interstellar war. The captured War King was imprisoned inside a reinforced facility deep beneath the mountains of Colorado. Scientists and military strategists studied him carefully. But something unexpected happened. Over the following weeks, signals began arriving from deep space, not attacks, messages. Other alien civilizations had been watching. The Karthik's dominion had terrorized countless species across the galaxy. Worlds had fallen one after another, because no one had ever managed to resist them long enough to expose their weakness. But now the galaxy had seen something impossible. Humans had captured the War King. They had dragged him through the ruins of his own invasion, and they had survived. Rebellions erupted across Karthik's controlled systems. Entire star systems rose against their occupiers. The Empire began collapsing faster than anyone expected. Months later, the War King was brought into a secure interrogation chamber. Across the table sat the same human general who had captured him. "You started a war you thought would be easy," the general said. The War King stared silently. "You told us to kneel." The alien ruler finally spoke. "You are dangerous," he said quietly. The general raised an eyebrow. "Because we fight back?" "No," the War King replied. "Because you learn." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then the general stood. "Maybe you should have thought about that before invading." He turned toward the door. As he left the room, alarms suddenly echoed through the facility. "Incoming transmission from deep space." The message appeared on every screen in the command center, but this time it wasn't from the Karthiks. It was from another alien alliance, one that had suffered under Karthik's rule for centuries. The translation: "System activated. We have seen what humanity did to the War King," the message said. There was a pause, then the final sentence appeared: "We would like to talk about an alliance." Humanity had not only survived its first alien war, they had changed the balance of power in the galaxy. And far out in the darkness between stars, countless civilizations were beginning to realize something important: humans were not easy to conquer. In fact, they might be the most dangerous allies or enemies the galaxy had ever seen.